It's time for the news.
Another UFO sighting has taken place.
The leather's made out of cardboard.
The number you have dialed is in an alternate dimension.
Welcome back to Weird Week. My name's Jack DeMont. I'll be your host here with Daniel Kim. How you doing right
Hello,
now,
guys.
Daniel? Midweek.
Hello, guys. Midweek. It's
Waluigi Wednesdays. Waluigi
Taco
Walu Wednesday.
or Taco Wednesdays. Can we have taco on Wednesdays too?
Tacos any day, yes. I mean, I don't adhere to the strictly on Tuesdays policy. I will have them on Wednesdays and Mondays, any day surrounding Tuesday, really.
If we can make that a thing, that'd be a thing of beauty.
Beauty. Speaking of food, while we're on the subject of nom nom foods, Wendy's tests an AI chatbot that takes your drive-through order. Daniel Kim.
Yeah, it's Wendy's is partnering up with Google, and they're using AI chatbots to take your order to reduce waiting times.
It's like a chat GPT.
I don't know.
Wendy's.
I don't know about this one. Yeah.
We don't.
Would you
Well,
like
it's
the
not
Frost-
Chat
would you
GPT
like-
because it's Google. They're different
Yeah.
AI entities. But
Like a chatbot, still a chatbot though. But
I wonder
would
if
you
it
like
if
a
it's
Frosty
if it
with that?
learns. Yeah.
Would you
like
like fries with that? Would you like a square meat patty with that?
square meat patty? Okay.
Circular or square? But I don't know. If this to me is a bad idea, not because I'm not against AI. It's just more so like if you ever called like an agency and had to go through their automated system and you have a specific reason why you're calling them, I feel like it takes forever to talk to somebody. And I feel like some people at Wendy's have a specific order that they want to place that the AI just can't formulate as well as a human being that's taking the order. So yeah, it's if God forbid if that person is in front of me, I'll be waiting forever at Wendy's to get my Frosty and a square burger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they waited a while to roll something out like this because we've seen AI definitely progress in front of our eyes, to a point that we see that it has almost like a level of understanding. So I wouldn't doubt that it's getting better at being customer focused and being able to do most of what those kinds of like really at the end of the day when you think about it, a lot of the time it is something that an AI could do. Not to say that like we should just be like canceling a bunch of workers' jobs because AI can do what they're doing. But at the end of the day, like this is another one of those jobs that AI can do what they're doing, and it, like you said, it gives them like this personal experience. But there, for a lot of these places, there's definitely a level of like you just as like the order taker have to say no. That's mostly what it really comes down to is like it's either yes, we can do that or no, we cannot do that. And the robot would just have like the most firm the most firm way of saying no. They would just be like, no, that's not possible, or yes, that is possible. But like really, I think the AI could actually very easily be programmed to understand what it can or cannot accept as an order, and it'll be even more so like focused that because like you can't really argue with the robot if it's just like no, I can't do that for you. Then you can try to argue, maybe go in and speak with like a manager or something like that, but they'll tell you no. They'll tell you the same thing the AI bot told you, and that's the same thing that a lot of these workers are doing that are taking orders and whatnot. It's mostly like yes, we can do that, or no, we can't do that, and that's really what order taking is.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes like in order to satisfy the customer, some restaurants would go a little bit above and beyond. I don't know the specific. My orders aren't specific, so I can't think of one on top of the head. I just say a number like 1, 2, and Coke,
Right.
medium, and that's it. That's my order. I don't go to Wendy's thinking like I'm gonna order like a well done or a medium rare burger. I'm just going to be like, they're just going to cook it the way they've always been cooking it. But some people do have specific needs, which a lot of managers and some restaurants do go above and beyond to satisfy the customers, which I think a lot of customers do appreciate. But I think the AI wouldn't be able to compute, or the prompts aren't there to move forward on with that order if that customer has a specific order that a human can make. It's just, I don't know. This is where AI, I think, might be in for it.
AI is pretty smart nowadays.
Yeah.
When you go into like ChatGPT and you put in prompts and then you have it adjust the prompt and whatnot, like it's actually pretty good at learning and adjusting. Like, so I wouldn't doubt if somebody said, "Can my burger be medium rare?" that they would be able to understand what the person was saying. It's just a matter of like, can we do that or not? This is just like not really like, this is just like, we don't really know what it is going to be at the end of the day, like, and how good it's going to be. This is all just really speculation. But I still think like, yeah, if somebody has a problem with the fact that the AI is telling them they can't do something specific or whatever, then it's very much like how it is right now, where if the like lower level employee tells you they can't do that, they're going to stay firm on that. And if you want someone to go above and beyond, you're going to have to go and talk to a manager usually anyways. So, and that would like the AI isn't going to replace the manager, at least not anytime soon. It's going to replace the guy taking the order. So
yeah, you can still make your but the manager response time might take a while. So I'm just afraid if I'm at Wendy's and I just don't want that person in front of me. That's going to cause
right. But
you're holding up the line.
If you're
moving forward, it's a burger joint.
To them, it's going to help also in the way that it'll like speed up the process, because there's going to be a lot more people like you than there are going to be the Karens, quote unquote, that go out there and complain about the order. There's going to be so many more people that are willing to just work with the AI and say like, I want the number 2 with the medium Coke, and then just like move along. And that will, because there's so many more people doing the very fast, just moving along version, they're going to be able to compensate for a lot of like the lost time with a Karen, quote unquote.
Yeah, and each fast food restaurant now has an app now. We can just order on their app.
Yeah,
pick it up. So, yeah, technology is crazy. It's crazy.
Technology and food, when you combine them, sometimes you get 3D printers spitting out fried fish.
Yep, it is pretty neato.
Right. So next topic, we've got a 3D printer that's producing fried fish. You said they came up with is it an alternative meat? It's not actually fish, or it's fish?
Yeah, it's not. It's produced in the lab, like
it's a substitute.
Sort of like your Beyond Burger, Beyond Meat, or Impossible Meat.
Is it still made with like fish protein and stuff though, or is it?
Yeah, they use cells, like certain cells. They extracted certain cells, and they used a 3D printer to kind of make a fillet style.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then you can fry it. It's not pumping out the fish already fried.
That'd be super neat. That'd be pretty dope.
But it is like a little fake fish brick that's just like pouring a little paste out in like a form. Okay, well that's interesting.
I'm not sure if it's a paste. It's just they said 3D printer, so I don't know. The properties.
How like a paste to come out of a 3D printer. I don't know what else would come out of a 3D printer.
Ink, denim. I don't know. Like the whole
in terms of fish. In terms of fish, I don't think denim fish are coming out of a 3D printer.
That's the next venture in fishing.
Yeah,
where fashion meets food.
It has to come out in some sort of a paste, but I imagine the paste like firms up. I'm sure it's not like staying like a paste. I'm just saying it's like that's in order for it to come out in 3D printed form, it would have to like essentially be squeezed out of a tube.
Yeah. I mean, what a crazy world we live in. AI takes my order and printers print out fish.
Not to bring up Futurama again, but it totally feels like an episode of Futurama sometimes. Like that is something Fry would like just eat. Like there's the bachelor chow.
Hmm.
And he pulls out this giant, like what would look like dog food kibble, like, and he opens it up and it's called bachelor chow, and it's just like a bowl full of like pellets, and that's what he's supposed to eat as a future human bachelor that's lazy.
Hmm.
It's like these little food bricks, these little fish food bricks. It's very interesting, like you said, the world we're living in. Speaking of foods that are going to give you diarrhea, Starbucks has a new olive oil coffee that is allegedly giving people diarrhea, or at least making them poop a whole lot.
Yeah, I want to say diarrhea. It's just making them poop a lot more, which I believe olive oil is good for like constipation. Because
so it's
I
like
know people with
laxative. It's
like
just like
constipation.
loosening everything up down there.
Well, I think laxative has properties where like secretes juices with when you take a dump, it's like so it like activates it where it keeps secreting those liquids. I think olive oil is supposed to like I don't know the science behind it, but apparently it's good for constipation. That and mangoes or kiwis, mangoes.
Yeah,
Well, one of
I just
those.
imagine the olive oil's coating the insides and making it nice and slick down there. It's like a little
Yeah, that's
slip
what
and
I was saying.
slide.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody's just like not giving him enough like, and just everything just starts popping out like crazy.
Slipping and a sliding, the ripping and
How
the
do you
tearing.
how do you feel about the olive oil in coffee? I think, to be honest, I think they're just taking like, was it necessary? Did you really need to put olive oil in coffee? It's just like it's just them
It's
trying to make something new, and it's just like it's a marketing gimmick, in my personal opinion.
yes and no. I'm on. We've already spoken about Starbucks so much on this podcast. This
Hmm.
podcast has already been very short lived so far. So, uh, not to get back into the company, but I'll talk a little bit about it. And it's just that to me, yes, it is like a grab, but a lot of the times what I've learned is a lot of the weirder, more obscure grabs that are like just them putting something in like a black coffee. It's not like a frappuccino or something. Um, is usually like them creating something based off of something popularized somewhere else for like a good reason or something. Now, when I was working at Starbucks the first time, a guy asked me to put his hot black coffee in a blender and then drop a few cubes of butter in there and blend it and then give it back to him. And I looked at him like he was
Ugh.
psycho, and he was like a sweaty businessman that was just like dabbing his forehead like,
I
dude,
need my
shut up
daily
and just
butter for
do
the
it for
day.
me, please. And I was
I
like,
need my daily butter.
yeah. And he's like, just shut up and do it for me, please. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I guess. Okay. And like I had to kind of like look at my manager, like, can I tell this guy no? Like, especially just because it's like a hot coffee in a blender. You just don't, that's not how you mix hot coffee. Like, you put it in a cup and you stir it or something. You don't blend a hot drink with no ice or anything like that to help slow it down, or, well, I don't know. Anyways, I put the butter and coffee in the freaking blender for the guy, and I gave it back to him. And I was like, that's good, like in a weird kind of a thing, when I gave it to him, and he was like, just don't knock it until you try it, and then walked out. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna try it. Years later, I'm working at Starbucks again, and I'm like, okay, let's just see what happens when I put butter in coffee. I didn't put it in a blender. I stirred it, but let's just see what happens when we put butter in coffee. And it was actually delicious. I don't know how to explain it, and I wouldn't always do it, but
Hmm.
for a change of pace, the weird, like, I think you have to do a salted butter, because the saltiness was definitely for me the thing that like helped make the difference. But it added like a level of creaminess with the melted butter where you didn't really need to add any milk or anything, maybe a little bit. And there was like some saltiness to it that was pretty good. It was actually very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it
this is kind
sounds
of like reminds me of that, the olive oil in the coffee.
I'm not making sure I'm making fun of like more so ew at the taste of it. I'm pretty sure it tastes delicious because coffee kind of goes with a lot of things like coffee ice cream that's sweet.
Mhm.
And I think there's like also like, like salted foam that goes with the saltiness, like the savory add to your coffee. But I'm just saying like drinking butter is just like the heaviness of it might sound. I mean, the first I might drink it for like one or two sips. After that, I'm just like I'm gonna throw up if I drink any more of this.
You definitely don't put too much.
Yeah.
You don't put like 2 tablespoons of butter in there. Like that,
Hmm.
there's definitely like maybe like a tablespoon at max. It's very like limited, of course. But
Hmm.
it is kind of weird. And again, like I don't necessarily like I wouldn't say I'd do it every single time, but I'd say just like the guy said, don't knock it until you try it. If like if you're gonna
Oh,
it just anybody out
I would
there,
definitely try it. I would
just
love to
try, at
try
least
it.
try it right before
Yeah,
you
I would
say,
love to
because it's
try it.
like
I
it
just
actually is delicious. It is
just by
weird.
like
I'd agree.
hearing
It
about it,
is.
yeah, it's like I wouldn't. I don't believe it's a drink that I would drink.
No, it
That
is
would
a
be
little
my
strange.
go-to. It'd be
But
basically like, like I've been looking for something a little creamier this time. Give
right.
me a salted butter
And
butter latte.
and then like that's basically where I'm at with it, is that it's like I'm sure it's a similar thing, like the premise of the olive oil and the butter being put in it, and maybe like someone is doing olive oil somewhere else now instead of butter, and maybe that's kind of where it is. It would, at least like the butter thing that I tried, would make me curious enough to want to actually try the olive oil coffee because of it, because I've
Yeah.
tried that butter coffee, which is just, it's different and weird, and I'd
Yeah.
at least try it.
I guess
I
I
don't
like
think it would
my.
be the same, and I think it would be
Mhm.
kind of funky.
Yeah, I guess I like my coffee a little bit more smoother on the smoother side as opposed to the creamier side. That's why I was never a big fan of like cream in coffee. I prefer like steamed milk because I think it's a lot more liquidy and more. It goes down a little bit more smoother in my opinion. But I mean, to each his own. Everybody likes their coffee
Well,
a
I think
different
you would
way.
find it, this would probably help it be a lot smoother. Like I felt like the butter coffee was very smooth. Like I think
Hmm.
maybe it actually cuts it some way, that, and actually you find that it's a very smooth
Mm.
coffee. You should
Because I
try it.
was never.
You should try it before you knock it.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try it. I am intrigued. When you said it, I was like, ew. But at the end
Are
of it,
you
I was
going to
just
try
like,
the butter coffee or the olive oil coffee? That's what I'm saying. You don't have to try the butter coffee. You have
oh,
to
I
try
don't
the
want to.
olive oil
Yeah,
coffee
I'll
before
try.
you do that.
I'll try both of them.
Try
But
both.
I'm more intrigued with the buttered coffee because
I'll have to
that
try
one
both.
that one.
Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it together as a taste test one day or something weird.
Yeah, reaction video coming soon.
React. Yeah, yeah. Stay tuned. Lots of stuff coming your way. Send us your money. just like just like you send Tesla your money, because Tesla.
Well, they're actually yeah, yeah.
What? What were you gonna
Tesla.
say?
Well, like Teslas. Yeah, they buy a lot of Teslas. I'm seeing a lot more of them around.
There's a lot of Teslas out there. Tesla's making his money for sure. They Who's Buttigieg?
Oh, he's a
Buttigieg.
U.S. Secretary of Transportation.
The U.S. Secretary of Transportation, a guy
Pete
named
Buttigieg. Yeah,
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. Yeah.
Thanks, I appreciate you
Mhm.
on the pronunciation fix there. Buttigieg, it's spelled but I geig. uh, he says Tesla shouldn't call their driving system an autopilot because humans are still in control. I
Yeah.
think he makes a good point, but I do think that like his definition is almost going a little too far. If he's saying it needs to be truly like autonomous, or like whatever, then it's like there needs to be a remote AI server running on its own that has all these cars on a grid or some shit like that. Like it's got to have like a whole nother level of insanity, that it's like, no, well, if you really like think about autopilot in a realistic sense, it should still always be to a level human controlled. Like the person that is like in that vehicle should have, at the end of the day, some form of control over the vehicle and be able to pull it out of autopilot if necessary.
Yeah.
right?
Well, if
You
I
know?
had to take a guess, this was probably after the event where I think Tesla on autopilot did run over a person. The system failed to recognize. It was on autopilot, but it failed to recognize a jaywalker. And I
Hmm.
think somehow the formula didn't. The system didn't compute that that's actually a person and you should stop. And it did end up going forward, and it did end up, you
Killing you.
know, yeah. So it's just that's where I think he's like, when people think autopilot is just like, oh, drive, take me to so and so's house. Okay, let me go to sleep. It's just, I think that's where he's kind of like,
Oh, so he's
just,
trying to redefine it for other people who don't seem to
yeah,
understand
yeah. I can see
that
even with
it.
me, I'm
Yeah.
still like my car has lane assist. So if I drift a little to a certain side of the lane, it pulls me a little bit back in. So like, yeah, but like I remember the car salesman telling me like it has to a degree auto control. It's like, yeah, but
To
keep
a
your hand on
degree.
the wheel. Yeah, he's like, keep your
Right.
hand on the
Right.
wheel. Yeah,
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
no, I mean, it to me kind of reminds me of something we were talking about. I think it was last week. But just that like every AI should still have some form of like human input in my eyes, at least, because it's just like it could get first off like out of control very quickly, but secondly, I believe AI is like more of like a tool for us to use than something we should create with intention for it to be like its own entity. Like I don't think we should create AI to be put inside of robots for robots to become their own sentient things. You know what I mean? Like AI, I feel like should always be used as a tool where we have the things necessary to have like inputs and commands and things to put into the AI in order for it to just be more of like an assistance rather than completely like autonomous. It's like if you imagine a car that is completely autonomous and has a true version of autopilot in the sense that like there's nobody controlling it, that could be very dangerous. There's nobody controlling it. It can become like who knows if it'll go off on its own and do its own thing. Like who knows what it'll do at that point. It's its own autonomous AI that is like way beyond what we should be expecting from our vehicles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But Teslas are pretty cool. It's all ran on one screen.
Teslas are
Just
pretty
crazy.
cool.
Hmm.
I've seen some people do some really, really fun things in Teslas while they're not paying attention to the road.
Oh, they're playing. Those things that they have games on that screen too. You
Right.
can use
Yes, that's what
your
I'm
steering
talking
wheel
about.
as a controller.
That would be very, very cool. But
Hmm.
I would be like very nervous to do that, and then like for it to be like autopilot off, and you're in the middle of a game, and you're like, oh shit, you
Hmm.
immediately like turn. Um, the world we're living in, man, it's crazier and crazier every day. I swear, we got into talking about the weirder stuff at the right time because boy howdy has it been weird for a while now. Um, on some like different kind of news, we have the leader of Ukraine, Zelensky, just met up with the Pope to try to speak about Pope Francis backing Ukraine to create a peace plan. Ukraine doesn't want Russia coming and not just like invading their lands, but taking their lands, and like forcing them to reassimilate themselves into Russia. Ukraine since the beginning of this invasion has just wanted to just have their land and be peaceful and doing their own thing. They didn't want any of this, and so at the end of the day, they're looking to the Pope to try to get them more peaceful negotiations.
Hmm.
I find it
Yeah,
interesting that somebody would go
yeah,
to the Pope to get to try to get them to be to get
yeah.
them to have
Even
peace talks or
I
whatever.
don't even know if like Russia has a big Catholic population where they might even listen to the Pope. Because I mean,
Yeah,
if the Pope talks to a bunch of, I don't know,
the,
Buddhists, I don't know if they'll like listen. I mean, they'll probably listen, but they probably won't. It's not like he's the leader of our clan, if you will. Like, and he'll just It's like, hey, lay down your weapons. It's like, okay, our leader says so, but I think
Well,
this war.
it might more so be like getting Ukraine more allies or something.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with this war is just I don't know who decide. I don't know. I guess it depends on which political spectrum you live on, which country you're on that would benefit from either Russia winning or Ukraine winning. It's just I don't know. A lot of times with war, it's just like it's all just seems like I don't know. It just feels like certain people profit from it, and the bigger, larger population always ends up picking up the costs for it. And that's where I'm just like, this is it's just like two political parties going at it with war. I mean, I don't know. I was never a big fan of that.
Well, right. I mean, I do again feel like Ukraine kind of didn't really want to be a part of this at all. And
Mhm.
I felt like they kind of were just doing their own thing and then got invaded.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think, they're kind of the underdog being picked on and by like a much bigger country, and they deserve to at least be heard in terms of peace negotiations and things like that.
Yeah.
And if they have to try to resort to spiritual leaders like the Pope to help them in that endeavor, then so be it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously highly political, but and at the end of the day, like, I don't support war, period. I just don't. But I'm always gonna like support who I feel is like the underdog in this situation, or is being like almost like just dehumanized or treated really unfairly in the situation. I'm usually always going to pick them. I
Mhm.
That's hard to say now, being as I'm like,
Yeah.
a part of the United States and they have the strongest military force. So it's like I'll always also root for the US, who's always going to be the top dog. But in terms of looking at things from a third person perspective, I usually root for the
Mhm.
people being invaded rather than the
Yeah.
invaders. But you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it also depends on belief systems and whatnot. I'd probably support the invader if they just aligned with my belief systems more. So, it
Yeah.
really just comes down to certain things.
Yeah. I mean, with this war, Ukraine and Russia, I don't know what preceded it, so I can't really give my opinion. Some people would want me to, but I don't know. I was never a fan of because at the end of the day, it's innocent civilians that always suffer the most. I mean, it's
Right. And that's why
Yeah.
I'm with you in that, saying like
Mhm.
I don't think I really, could say I support
Mhm.
war effort much. Like,
Yeah.
do I support our troops, and do I want our troops to live their best lives, to get their mental health support, things like that? Of course. But do I support the act of war on the whole? No, I don't. I don't
Mhm.
think we should humans on the whole
Yeah. But
should
it is
attack and kill each other like that.
Yeah, but it is a very profitable business if you do get into something that pertains to war. I know you can make even just selling weapons or manufacturing weapons for a certain country. That could be
No, you know what?
yeah,
You're right. Screw it. Let's get into the war business, man.
exactly.
Let's
That's what I was
build
just trying to
guns.
tell you. That was my soft pitch. Let's make vodka powered guns.
When I
The Russians would
tested
love that.
to try to get into the Air Force at one point in time, they told me I was going to become like bomb squad or something like that. I have the know-how, dude. Or at least they believe I had the brain capacity. So, dude, we could just
training.
we could build not, don't quote me on it,
Mhm.
but we could make some serious money around here.
Nice. What do you think if we were to get at this? What should we make first?
I don't want to say it because that could get us canceled pretty quick.
No,
because I'm just
gonna
joking.
say Sock and Boppers military style. Have you heard of Sock and Boppers?
Yeah, dude. And we'll build giant Rock'em Sock'em robots. They'll be giant Rock'em Sock'em Boppers.
Exactly. See? It all works out in the end.
We'll put the boppers on the robots, and they'll go to town out there. We'll put AI in the Rock'em Sock'em robot boppers.
Yep, and also take your Wendy's order too.
And they'll take your Wendy's order. Make sure you get that square patty.
Exactly.
That's the only reason why you go to Wendy's as opposed to other places. Is they have chili and a good ass baked potato. Their sides are definitely like way different.
Chili is bomb.
And then there's square patties. And okay. I lied. You go to Wendy's for a lot of reasons. Wendy's is definitely one of the better food chains in terms of fast food. We appreciate you guys joining us this week. It's been another funny, weird one. Tune in on Friday. We got another one coming your way. But keep on liking, subscribing. Tell your family, your friends, and send us all your money. We need your money to do things. So just do that. Thank you. We'll see you soon, you freaking weirdos. Peace. Wow.